Welcome back to this Football Manager 2019 experiment where I have simulated 100 years into the future on the game. If you missed part 1, please go and check that out first, because this part 2 is more about you guys, your requests from part 1, the things that you want to see that I didn't show in part 1. There is a link to the video in the description below. You can also head over to my channel and watch it there. And if you are new, please hit that subscribe button whilst you are there. Additionally, I released a video yesterday which was focused on a particular player within this save. It's a player that managed to reach the age of 101 and was still playing. A very strange bug. So if you missed that video, go and watch that, because it's just brilliant and pretty amusing as to this weird bug that occurred on this particular save. And lastly, before we get cracking with today's video, I just want to let you know your plans, because a few people have been asking, where's my Let's Play series? I decided not to do one for the beta because I've been focusing all my attention on these experiments, tutorials ahead of FM19, the full release, when I'm going to be bringing back Regen Rovers, of course. If you don't know what that's all about, there is a video explaining the first series that I did on FM17, and it'll bring you up to date with what's happening. And there's a few other videos on my channel preparation-wise for the series. So that's why I haven't uploaded any Let's Play videos. That will be starting early in November after the full release, which is on the 2nd of November. Thank you to everyone that commented on part 1, observations, suggestions for part 2, but there wasn't that many comments, probably because I showed most of the important stuff in part 1. But I'm going to go down the comments and show a few things. First of all, we're going to have a look at some of the other leagues in Europe. Rafael Pereira, Nexus Game, wanted me to show the Portuguese League, and also the Turkish and Dutch leagues thrown in there as well. Let's start with the Portuguese then, because I know there's a lot of Portuguese people that watch my videos. I couldn't load everything. It would have been incredibly slow to holiday into the future. I didn't even load Serie A. So yeah, I do apologise. But as you can see, Portugal's 7th in the world rankings. And these are the top clubs in Portugal. So Porto are the 4th biggest club. Sporting Lisbon, apparently the top club now. It is a 4.5-star reputation league, which is the same as all the other top 5 divisions in Europe, interestingly. But you can see Sporting Lisbon won the most recent Portuguese Premier League, Primeira Liga. But you can see Porto did dominate for a long time. However, look, there's been some different winners. Interesting. This is good. This is an interesting league, actually. So the first league was actually won by Sporting Lisbon, and they did win it a few times with Porto. Benfica and Porto, as you'd expect, dominating for periods of time. But Rio Ave coming in, Guimarães coming in as well and winning it there again a few times. In fact, Rio Ave once again dominating for 4 years in a row. Really interesting. Then Porto had a really impressive spell, just like they do in real life. Really, look at this. Between 2074 and 2102. That's pretty much almost 30 years. They won it every year apart from Sporting Lisbon here. That is incredible. That is just quite boring as well. I mean, what's happened to Benfica? They're finishing 3rd here. When Benfica won the league here, though. Oh, Vars. Who are Varzim? I can't say I've heard of them. Have they come from nowhere? Let's have a look at them. They might be in the top flight in real life. I don't know. But let's have a look. Let's go down. And I don't think they were. I think they're in the 2nd tier. Yeah, look at this. 2nd tier. In fact, is that like a regional league? Relegated from the 2nd tier. Promoted back again. And now they've gone on to win the 1st division. Oh, what's this doing? It's playing up. They've won it a few times as well. That is incredible. It's great when it's like Barnsley from the English Premier League. In part 1, Barnsley went on to dominate England. They won the Champions League as well. So this is fantastic. Sporting have won the last 2 divisions. Benfica, Porto have now vanished. Porto, like I said, they're now the 4th biggest team. But they did have a 30-year period where they just completely dominated Portugal. But they haven't won it since then. So they won it so many years in a row. And suddenly dropped off to 6th. All of a sudden. And they've just not recovered since then. It's really weird how that's happened. I don't know if their finances... They're rich, so it's not a financial issue. Perhaps they just stopped producing players. Perhaps a big bunch of players that they had that were world class or very, very good just suddenly all retired at the same time. I don't know. But that is Portugal for you. I've just realised I did load the Portuguese leagues. I didn't load Serie A, but I did load because I can see the divisions here. I forgot that I actually loaded this. Let's have a look. Yeah, I stuck it in there. I've loaded these. Now, the reason why, I know there's been a couple of Portuguese people upset with me because I haven't shown Portugal. But at the time, I presumed I hadn't loaded the league. But I have, as you can see here. So I loaded the top division anyway. So, yeah. Don't hate me, please, because I did actually load your league. And if you do download that save file, you'll be able to look at it in great detail. Every single league that we've had in 100 years, because I did actually look. I just completely forgot. I do apologise. We move to the Netherlands then, or Holland. Currently 9th in the world rankings. They've got a 4-star reputation league for the top division. This probably won't be as interesting because I haven't loaded this league. So that's probably why we've seen a bit of variety in Portugal, because I actually loaded Portugal. There's a bit of variety in the middle period, but it is mainly Ajax and PSV. Let's go back to the start then. So 2018-19 final, then Ajax. So we've got 3 different winners really throughout. We've got Alkmaar winning it a few times, in fact. Feyenoord, PSV. It's mainly PSV and Ajax, though, isn't it? Looking at this, you might see some different teams creeping into 3rd and 2nd place from time to time, but it is quite a boring division, I am afraid. But Ajax have won the last few league titles. They are a 4.5-star reputation team, so they're good. They're very good. They're rich as well, so they're doing pretty well overall. And the last league that was requested by Rafael Pereira was the Turkish League. So we look at Turkey, 29th in the world rankings. They've got a 4-star reputation league as well. Galatasaray. What? They've won it every single season since the 2068-69 season. You've got quite a bit of variety in 2nd and 3rd place, but Galatasaray are the dominant force in Turkey. We have had some other winners. Konyaspor, Besiktas, Fenerbahce, these teams that you will all know. This team I don't know. They managed to win. They don't even have any players. Well, I suppose because I haven't loaded Turkey, but they won the league in 2031. Really random. I've not heard of them. But Galatasaray, obviously, they've won so many league titles. Let's have a quick look at them then. Look at their situation. So, yeah, they're rich as well. So, and a 4.5-star reputation team after winning the league for so many years in a row. The next request is from Steph, who asked about Eden Hazard, because of course we saw in part 1, Man City had their stadium named after him, the Eden Hazard Arena, and that is really random. The game loves legends, and it loves to name stadiums after legends, but he only played 154 games for Man City, scored 51 goals. So he moved in 2019, so the 2nd season of the game. He actually played a lot less and scored less goals for Man City than Chelsea, but Man City named their stadium after him. I wonder if Chelsea named their stadium after him as well. I don't think so. Then so they named it after someone else, another, I assume, a regen. But this is Hazard. You can see 37 goals in 137 games for Belgium in the end. Retired at the age of 36. Doesn't look like he went into coaching or anything. He'd be dead by now. 2,119, of course. But Man City Stadium is named after him. Someone also asked about, observed that Man City were relegated. Who was that? Michael Blakemore noticed that Man City were relegated. I did actually notice as well, but I just didn't point it out. But yeah, they were relegated for I assume the first time. I'll have a quick look, but they were relegated in the 2016-17 season, promoted again. They finished 13th in their first season back in the top flight. So Man City haven't won the league since 2098. So 20 years without winning the league title, which in this sort of save doesn't seem that a long time. But just think about 20 years ago from now. That would be 1998. And for example, Liverpool haven't won the Premier League since, 1990, something like that. So yeah, it's you can compare it that way. So that's a long time without winning the league. I'm just going to have a quick look to see. So their facilities, the Eden Hazard Arena, was built in 2068. So it would have been quite a long time after he left the club. He left the club in 2025 and moved to Newcastle. 43 years later, he had a stadium named after him. It just seems strange. It really does. 77,000 seater as well. So it's a big stadium. And they're still playing there now. I don't think they were relegated. No, they weren't. So that was, apart from, the year 2000, which is a hell of a long time ago. But yeah, the first time on this save, relegated in 2017. 18th place. 33 points. Look at the minus goal difference, which is unusual for them. Then they won the league last year quite comfortably in the Championship, as you can see. 103 points. The next request is from Zolt Schutzbach. Apologies if I murdered your name, I probably did. But he's interested in Hungary. I presume you're from Hungary. And a nation with huge amounts of history. Recently read the book about Pushkash, actually, which was fascinating. I absolutely loved that book. But yes, Hungary, 51st in the world rankings. Doesn't look like they've really improved during this particular save. Their first division, though, is a 4-star reputation division, which isn't bad at all. And it is this team, in fact, it's the team that you were hoping for, is dominating. Well, not necessarily dominating. They've won 3 divisions in a row. Along with Videoton, they've won many, many divisions. Of course, I haven't actually loaded this league. But Honved, who Pushkash play for, they're featured. A few other teams. There's been a bit of variety here, actually, but it is mainly Ferencváros and Videoton that have won the most league titles anyway. So hopefully that's answered your question, my friend. In the comments, Tom McEwen was celebrating the fact that Lille have won the Champions League a few times. They have done very well on this particular save. They're a 5-star reputation club. You can see they have won the league a few times. They've won the last 3 league titles, in fact, but they were relegated at one point. And they've recovered and turned into a huge force in European football. I'm just going to have a quick look at them. I'll just show their winning medals, I suppose. So they actually didn't win the league for many, many years. 2011, that was when they had Hazard, wasn't it? When he was young. But then 2109 was their next league title, almost 100 years later. So they had 98 years without winning anything. I don't think they won the cup. Let's have a look. Oh, they won the cup a couple times in the 50s, as you can see there, but they were relegated. But look at this, 3 Champions League titles. In fact, 3 of the last 5 seasons they've managed to win it. That is incredible. But yeah, it's interesting that they were relegated to Ligue 2 only briefly here, and then for a couple more seasons there. Then promoted again, struggled a little bit, but look, progressively got better. First, then second for many years on the third, and then first for the last 3 seasons. Really interesting stuff. Just want to have a look at their facilities. So they do have the same stadium. I don't know if it's been expanded. It was built in 2012. Are they rich? They should. Oh, any secure finances even after winning the Champions League 3 years in a row. So this is quite interesting, actually. Hey Chan spotted this in the records for the Europa League. You will notice that the most matches without winning is 200 from Tri Fiori. And that was between 2018 to 2118. 100 years without winning a single Europa League game. And it must have been that they qualified a lot, because it was 200 games without winning as well. So they must have qualified for like the knockout, not the knockout, the qualifying stage every season, and won and lost or drawn both of their legs in the qualifying stage or something like that. They're an amateur team from San Marino. This is why this has happened, I presume. But 200 games, 100 years. That is incredible. I assume they qualified every single season. Look, let's look at this, because we'll actually only see their Europa League matches, I presume, on here. But you can see that the most recent season, 6-0 aggregate loss. If we keep going back, look. Oh, they drew a game there. Boca Juniors. Why are Gibraltar Boca Juniors. Okay, that makes sense. Keep going back. I could go back forever, and there will not be a single win. It's amazing. It really is. I'm going to stop now, but you get the picture. Footbally Maniac asked me to look at Poland. I hope you guys that have asked for me to look at things are actually going to watch this video now, because I'm looking at some quite niche things. But this is the Polish national team, 46th in the world rankings, and 4-star reputation league. It's quite boring. It's been dominated by, I suppose, the big 2 in Poland. There was one interesting winner, Cracovia. I don't know how good they are in Polish football. They might be a good team for all I know. But yeah, it's quite boring, I'm afraid. Void Vector asked me to look at Peru, currently 44th in the world rankings. They've got a good player. Well, he must be good. He's playing for PSG. He's got to be good. 31 years old. Centre-back, not bad. But the Peruvian Primera division is actually a 4-star reputation league, which isn't bad at all. Alianza Lima have dominated Peru, as you can see here, but there have been some different winners. There's been a little bit of variety. I have no idea about the Peruvian division, I'm afraid, so I don't know these. I feel like I've heard of this team. I don't know. I've probably seen these teams every now and then on Football Manager over the years, but this is the Peruvian league for you. We've seen there is a little bit of variety. In fact, second and third place there's loads of different teams that are featured. So that's certainly more interesting than the Polish league, that's for sure. This team, this is the one I pointed out. They've got an 80,000 seater stadium. In fact, the winners, Alianza Lima, 35,000 seater stadium, is much smaller than some of the other ones. Moving on to AFC Wimbledon then. So Martin and Clift apparently spotted that they'd managed to get promoted to the Premier League once. So I'm going to have a look. They're currently a 3-star reputation team in the Championship of England. But we'll see if they actually made it to the Premier League, because I didn't actually spot this myself. Of course, they're sponsored by Football Manager, remember. Or AFC Wimbledon. But let's just scroll down. There they are. There we go. 2074. Good spot. So they got promoted via the playoffs, I presume. In fact, they'd only just got promoted to the Championship a couple of years before. But they did unfortunately finish bottom of the league with only 14 points that season. Can we click? Oh, there we go. We can click. Oh, no, it doesn't take us to the correct season. Let's take... Oh, no. What? Where are they? Where are Wimbledon? I thought they finished bottom. Is it the year before? There we go. There, I clicked on the wrong one. Okay, so yes, Wimbledon relegated with 14 points, minus 62 goal difference. It's just intriguing looking at these sort of... Most of these teams you'd expect to be in the Premier League, I suppose. We've got Barnsley in at this point, who went on to dominate, of course. West Brom, who'd had a very successful 2040s, was still a top 4 Premier League team. They've just got relegated this season, in the most recent season, of course. But yeah, Wimbledon, good to see them in the Premier League, even if it was only for one season. Amobius loved the fact that Hamburg had a very successful time in the Champions League. His comment was, "This result for Hamburg really is the most beautiful thing I've ever seen in a YouTube video." Well then, I'm pleased I could provide that beautiful moment for you. They've actually not really done very much in Germany in the last few decades, as you can see here. But we'll go to their competition history, and you will notice that they won the Champions League 4 times. They obviously won it in 1983, but since then, 2078, 79, 2 years in a row, then 86 and 92. They won the Bundesliga. In fact, they haven't won the Bundesliga at all. They haven't even finished second on this save. But they managed to win the Champions League 4 seasons. That's really weird. They finished third, 6 times. So that's how they qualified. They've won the Club World Cup twice. They've won the Europa League once. They've won the Super Cup twice, 2 years in a row, in fact. They've won this cup competition a few times, 4 times on this save. But they didn't even finish in the top 2 of Germany, but they managed to win the Champions League four times? 4 times, yeah, which is just amazing, really. They're a 4.5-star reputation team, secure finances. Looking at their facilities, they're still playing in the stadium built in 1953, or it was rebuilt in 2000, actually. Is that bigger than that they have in real life? 60,000. They've actually got 10,000 people. I suppose that's safe standing, isn't it? In Germany, they've got safe standing. So I had to take a look at Guingamp because their story is quite miraculous. They've managed to win the Champions League a few times. And according to Marius Pudavinya, apologies for that, he loves the fact that they won because apparently it's a town or village with only a population of 7,000 people, and the stadium is bigger than the population. In fact, let's look at the stadium now. It's a 78th. So apparently this is 10 times bigger than the population of the village that they are from. Named after, I presume, a region that did very well for them. 78,000. It was only built 9 years ago. So I wonder where they were playing prior to that. That is magnificent. So they have won the league once in the last couple of decades, but it's all about the Champions League for them, really. Let's just have a look at the competition. So they won the Champions League 3 times, twice in a row at one point. They did win Ligue 1 8 times, is that? And they did win it 3 years in a row, then another 2, then another 2. So they've been very successful. You can see all of their success has been since 2080, where they finished 3rd for the first time and then progressively got better after that. They've won the Club World Cup 3 times. They've won the Europa League as well in 2083. They won the Coupe de France in 2083. They were actually only promoted from Ligue 2 in 2075. So that is really good. Let's have a look at their domestic history then. So we'll go back to the start. So they were in Ligue 1 to start with at the start of the save. They were relegated back to Ligue 1, Ligue 2, and then Ligue 1 again for a long time. Where were they relegated? Oh yeah, relegated here. So they did have a tricky spell. But after that point, it has been truly miraculous. They have sort of slumped a little bit in recent years. You can see here the last 4 seasons, they've not finished in the top 4 at all. But still, the story of this team, in fact, they finished 10th this year. So they do seem to be on a downward trajectory at the moment. But it is quite a remarkable story for them. 4.5-star reputation team. Maybe they'd be able to recover if you continue into the future on my save file. If anyone does want to do that, by the way, then I can make a video on a save file. If you continue 200 years, then I can do a video on that. And lastly, I just had to take a look at my beloved West Ham. Someone did ask me on Twitter as well. Amazingly, West Ham have had some success. It took basically 100 years since their last trophy. We haven't won anything since 1980 FA Cup. But we actually won something. It was, in fact, the first trophy was the FA Cup, I think, in 2083. Where are we? I can't find myself anywhere. There we go. So many years without winning anything. Won the League Cup a couple times. Won the Champions League, though, in the year 2113. Only 6 years ago. What an incredible journey for West Ham. They've been up and down. They have been in the Championship a few times, actually. Won the Premier League twice in a row. I didn't spot that. I spotted that they won it once, but for some reason I overlooked the fact they won it twice in a row. And they've won a few other things as well. So it's, for me, pleasing. Although by the time, if this does actually happen, I'll be in my 90s, if this does come true, in regards to the FA Cup anyway. Very much doubt I'll be alive for the Champions League win. 4.5-star reputation team. It's amazing seeing all the icons and legends at these clubs now, because of course it's just been added and added and added over time. But still playing in the London Stadium. It has been expanded to the 66,000 seater that it can be expanded to. But it's over 100 years old now, the London Stadium. So we will end it there, guys. Thank you for watching this video, this part 1 and 2. Thank you for your suggestions for this part 2. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please leave a like. Like I said, I'll be bringing Regen Rovers back to the channel very soon. So just a week and a bit to wait, really, until I'll be ready to release that content. But in the meantime, there'll be some more experiments, some more tutorials, just some normal Football Manager stuff without me really getting to grips with the game yet. I'm just learning. I'm actually managing West Ham behind the scenes and just getting used to the game, really, and the new tactics, new training. I wanted to have some time to just familiarise myself with the new features. A lot of people are throwing themselves into beta saves, and that's what I usually do. But there's a lot out there. There's so many people making Football Manager content now that it can get a bit lost. And I didn't want to just create something a little bit subpar. And also, I didn't want to distract myself from preparing for Regen Rovers. And I wanted to do some other types of content, because not everyone's doing this sort of thing during the beta period anyway. But there we go. Thank you for watching. Until next time, enjoy Football Manager 2019. Enjoy the rest of your day. I'll see you very soon.